Hi guys, it's Aegis here. We are now at the top 4 of Hong Kong WGP Spring 2021 V Premium, and we now have a mirror match on the Prism deck. So you can see here I do cut out the shuffle part because it would take quite a bit of time. Yeah, and just by that I already cut like 5 minutes, so you can see how many shuffling actually occurring during this match, and it is indeed a very long match. Because when these two decks fighting against each other, it's just about how you actually gain advantage, and both decks can, because they are basically kind of the same build, so what they will get is a large hand and just keep guarding, keep doing the same thing, repeating again and again until like deck out, or until suddenly heal power comes in that strike through their hand size and such. And you can see here the right side player actually guard heavily against a crit, which did happen, but in return he called a crit with this long. Because you do need to have a heavy damage control, not only on your opponent's side but also on your side. You do want to save a lot of damage to take like late game, and the left side player actually did not give any counterblast to his opponent, because the Prism units can basically counterblast and do a lot of things. Even though without the counterblast, the Grapefruit Prism can still gain the triple drive, but in order to do multiple attacks, you do need to pay for the counterblast. Okay, so put a force on, to the crit, and actually use the Heal Guardian to kind of solve the damage deny, which is one of the important skill that we have with the Heal Guardian, that when you have no damage, you can basically take one. Okay, so forcing another damage down, and now doing it bounce 2, get 1 back. In here, later we will have this solved, that not 2 units being bind, but actually only 1, because 1 is being called already, that is on the field, and the other one is bind by that skill. So 1 will go back to the drop later. And now both sides is getting onto break 3, and they will be doing the same thing again. Yeah, so here we are, solving the bind zone and drop. So binding the grade 4 to bind another card. This will help speed up the process of doing the 5 multiple attacks, which is very important in this build, because you don't just want to use your Q tier to get your parts, but you also want to do your 5 valid attacks that forcing a lot of shield. So the left side player get the Q tier and calling for Ellie, and very quickly got it. And then use the Aqua to bounce, and then use the Q tier again to grab another piece. So the key for this deck is not only the Prism cards, but also Aqua and Q tier, because you use Q tier to grab a piece, use Aqua to bounce like a Q tier, drop a card that you don't need, and then call Q tier again to drop you another piece. But of course you need to know your deck very well. Okay, still calling Ellie. So I think he's quite confident that he can get it, and there we are. And now counterblast is ready, 2 bind cards is ready. He can just do 5 attacks and bounce 2 back, triple drive to get 5 cards into his hand, and you can see his hand size is already big. Okay, using the Prism to get bind another one. So I think he's thinking what to bind, because that will be directly related to what he can call when the Vanguard attacks. Okay, still finding a different type. So going in, forcing a 10k shield. And the Aqua going in. Now based on what I see when you're using this deck, usually the side attacks, the rearguard attacks is where you will likely going to take damage because it's kind of secure to be only one, unless you see a crit after the new rearguards being placed on the field. Yep, so he's actually taking one. And then the Vanguard attack, because your Prism will just come back in and pump power, and it's triple drive, so you rather not risk it and take it. So you can see 2 counterblocks fully used, but couldn't pick anything. So it's free to pass, so getting a heal, which is very important because getting heal means you have more counterblocks to use, means you can take more hits, and yet another Q tier in hand, which can basically simply just call 2 and get 2 cards, and if you still have Aqua, you can get 3 pieces if you call them correctly. And so far, we can starting to see a hand size difference. Left side have a lot of hands, while right side don't have that much. Mainly because for 2 things. One is the left side player do have the Q tier and Aqua pieces, even though the right side player do have Aqua, but we don't see the Q tier right now. That don't help you to grab enough stuff, because Q tier is basically getting you a free piece, and Aqua, you bounce one back, you still need to drop one, so your hand size didn't change. And the right side player only multiple attack with 1 extra unit, while the left side player actually got 2. So this is also affecting the guarding cards used. So this is starting to create a lot of changes and differences in the hand. Left side player seems to have 10 cards in hand, and you can see a right side player do play out the Great Prism, but that doesn't matter because you will bounce that back to your hand. So you can just feel free to use it, and basically kind of telling your opponents you are going to ride again next turn. And now it's the matter of how hard you can push your opponents through to at least force them to drop some cards to guard, because if the game takes longer and longer, meaning the hand size will probably just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, while the power of rearguards on the board will be bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it will start squeezing the differences because you need to use a lot more hands to guard, and from there will create a lot more differences depending on triggers, depending on a lot of stuff, and will change the hand size, and who run out of hands, run out of rooms to take damage, will lose. And finally see a Q tier. Okay, and the left side player actually get a defensive, that helps a lot. Okay, using an Ellie and another Ellie. So he basically used all the Ellie that he grabs, and both get to the bottom of the deck, meaning if you are calling Q tier, you probably don't want to call Ellie because you need to go through a lot to get there, and you're likely going to meet another units with multiple copy first before you actually meet Ellie. So you will call another unit, allow yourself to shuffle first. Okay, so you can see it's calling Setna, which is a Grave Researcher, and hit. Then you can shuffle, and now you can call another Q tier to try to find your Ellie because you shuffle your deck. So this is also a little technique when you pile up this deck. I've seen so many actions with this deck, and probably just through this match you can master the deck if you are a person with a good memory and always analyzing your own deck, like what's left in your deck, you remember it very well, then you know. Yeah, so now he's calling Ellie again because he shuffled the deck and he got it again. And since you keep getting normal units pieces into your hand from your deck, you are actually feeling your deck a lot, and after that what's left will be triggers. So getting a triple drive and probably ready to strike it. Okay, 12 hands on the right side player, but he's on 3 damage as well, so he probably can take 1, but then the rest he will need to guard a lot harder because I don't think he wants to put himself into 5, even though that can kind of be a heal deny, but that also means if he is not healing the next turn, he's going to be trouble. So okay, calling Ellie again. You see a lot of cards appearing, and he still got it. So what happens to the left side is basically just to Ellie to guard through 2 Q tier, grab all the Ellie's back, and you can just keep recycling this every single turn. Get your big shield Ellie. If you need a shuffle, call another unit and grab them. Even if it doesn't hit, you can still shuffle your deck and then search your Ellie again, and then do your 5 attacks. Get a lot of hands. Use Ellie to guard because it's a big shield, and you just repeat it. Yep, so things are repeating again, and again. The threat to triple drive is still here, because even though the Vanguard attack power is kind of low, but you can't afford to risk the crit. Here we are. Okay, here we are. And the left side player actually declared he haven't used the Stessa skill, so that is being used right now. Okay. Now 4 cards back left in his hand for the right side player, but his opponent is still like with 10 plus cards in hand. Now it's depending on how many cards he can actually force his opponents to use. Because if he can't catch up, he will run out of cards, and he's already like kind of 2 turns late with the Q tier combo. So even though he start to pick up stuff, doesn't mean he can catch up. So we actually see a very interesting card core, which is Spiana, which her skill is when placed, you may return a card with the same card name as the Grave on your Vanguard circle or Ritual circle from your drop zone to your deck. If you can return a card, you can counter charge. which is very important in like a newer match, because both sides will at least need a counter blast or two to do all the actions, and this not only help you counter charge, but also helps you to return your QTR, return your Grapefruit Prism, so you can even call them out, declare them with a QTR and pick them back if you want to. After shuffle, this will helps you to get more force markers, get your pieces to calling stuff. Yep, so you can see the Spiana come in to do the counter charge, and now striking again. And the match is kind of in the mid stage to almost the end stage, because both sides is like filling the deck already, so it won't be surprising if we're starting to see like some triggers appearing, or like basically both sides building up power just through the cards on the board with force markers. They're taking one and yet get another defensive, so the left side player is actually quite lucky. On the first hit, get a defensive, and he get another defensive, which is and even a heal. This is very favoring the left side, because now Vanguard is 33k on defense, and even though those regards are having a high power, that still is going to be easily guarded with a pick hand and a high defensive power. $30k for a full guard, so Ellie came in, and another 10k show. You can see the importance of Ellie here, and of course the defense trigger, but Ellie can be a big shield, which helps really a lot. You can see there 2 Ellies is being used yet again. So now we can see if the left side player is trying to get Ellie back again somehow, which if we do the same trick, he can probably get them back. But of course, there's always no guarantee. Okay, passing turn again. Right, another one. Okay, calling another QTR and start repeating the stuff again. This time it's actually calling Rosa. Probably this is yet another trick to shuffle the deck and get Ellie. But he did reveal a lot of cards, so his opponent actually did check through the details, but since it takes a lot of time, so I cut that as well. So they are counting decks, because we are getting close to the end of the match, and I think both sides have around like 70 cards on the deck. So yeah, not a lot of cards left. Okay, so starting the bouncing again. He's dropping the Rosa. They're probably calling yet another QTR to find Ellie. Yep. Getting that once again out of shuffle. So also use a Spiana. This is during the middle of the shuffling of QTR, because the left side player think it's easier to just do that all at once instead of shuffling 2 times. And here comes the grade 2 I hate the most. But since now we are getting more cards with Paralyze or Royal Colony, my hate to this card is actually getting lower. But you can see left side player hand size is actually dropping quite a lot. So the right side player did kind of catch up, but now he's facing the pressure of 5 attacks, and let's see if he can survive. Okay, guarded this. $33k. Still more than 20k to guard. Even Ellie can help with a lot, but you still need to drop some extra cards. Yeah, and like around the judges, we are like talking about how long will this loop ends, and basically both sides, the field is the same, the setup is the same, but it is a mirror match, and they basically do the same thing depending on what they have. But in the end, you can see the setup right here is completely the same. So this is a real mirror match. $48. Okay, guarded that, and the last one he takes it. So he only has 2 cards left in his hand, and that's not enough. But the main difference here is basically who get the Q tier first and how many benefit you get from there. Yeah, so let's get into the finals, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.